Oh, hello there, YouTube. Today, we're installing a whole lot of stuff, one of which, we're putting this SYE kit in my transfer case, my NP231, on my Jeep Cherokee. If you want to see how to do that, click the video link above. But you're here for that good old-fashioned American steel. We're installing these Azzy Design Works shift linkage, getting rid of this whole blobble of mess and destruction that doesn't even work half the time. So, let's get that angle grinder and let's start tearing some stuff out. Now, if you have an NP231 or an NP242, which is pretty much all Jeep model transfer cases, the four-wheel drive system, there is a great product for you, and there's a couple different things like this on the market. There's some that are cable driven, and there are some that are closely more resemble the original manufacturing, which is really confusing, a bunch of linkage. And then there is the KISS method, the keep it simple stupid. Some articulating bolts, 2 plates. This plate mounts to your transfer case, and this plate mounts to the bottom of your shifter, in the in-cab shifter. And as you can read on there, it says this side out. These little clips that they've cut and bent for you fit onto that shifter to keep it snug so it articulates properly. And as you can see by my accurate demonstration, that's how it shifts. So, first thing first, we have to get the old stuff out. And they recommend either you lift your carpet, take out the 4 bolts that hold the bracket onto the vehicle, and then use a plier or a flathead to pry out the bolts from their shift positions. I believe there's 1 or 2 nuts. We're going to take an angle grinder to cut the bracket off, and then we'll just hammer everything out. Let's get it there. As you can see, I don't have my transfer plate on, and I don't have the front drive shaft in. And that's because, like I said, I'm doing the SYE kit right now, and it will allow you to have a whole lot more room to operate and pop these bad boys out, which is what I thought would just happen with a wee bit of force. Yep, here we go. So, step 1 is to pop the shift linkage out from both the transfer case and the in-cab shifter. And you want to note what position they're both in. Go. And now that we have both of those, now that we have both the shift linkages popped out from here and here, which you can see how poorly designed this is. To get the bushing out of the cab side lever, I just used a knife, slid it across the mushroomed edge, and cut that off, which allowed the other side to just fall out. Probably spent like 10 minutes trying to pry it out with flathead screwdrivers. That was just a waste of time. Just use a knife, cut it, and now we can not final install because we don't know whether or not we want to bend these edges to help it fit onto here, but we're going to put the bolt that goes through this hole into that hole and see how well the length of the bar between the two levers is. Now, as you can see, there's 4 attachment points on this bracket to the underside of your cab, and you want to either go onto the inside, remove all your carpet, liner, deadener, and whatnot, and take those 4 bolts out, and they very well might just strip and you won't even be able to do them out. Or you can get your saw and you can cut them out, which is what I'm going to do, because who doesn't love a power saw? And there we go. Used a moon wrench to leverage and just pull this thing out, and up top is just squeezed on there. So now we've got all the old linkage out. Look how much space we have. So much room for activities. Those bolts are still there, so you don't even have any holes in your floorboard to fill up. So we've got this tightened down. I can put my drive shaft and the transmission plate back across. You don't need to take your drive shaft and your transmission plate out to do this project, but it makes it far easier. It'll only take you, 15 minutes. Make sure to jack up. Make sure to put a jack under your transmission to lift it up if you take your plate out. And remember to put some wood blocks under your tires, because you might accidentally put your vehicle in neutral, and it'd be very bad if this rolled onto you. You don't want to die. So do things to make yourself not die. Now, I had to lengthen by about an inch just by spinning one side out and then another side out, because they're counter twist. So you spin the centerpiece and it will elongate. You spin it another way, it'll contract. And to get this to about the right angle, so that's in 4-low and this is in 4-low, and that's at about, 11 o'clock angle, and I'd say that's about 6:30 angle. So 4-low for both of them, and I think I have all these to the right distances. However, on this side there's 3 bolt holes, and depending on how much lift you have, how much, if you have a drop case, if you have a manual and automatic, there's different sizes. They're further back, closer up. So they recommend starting with the middle one. Now I'm going to snug this all down, finish installing the SYE kit, put my T-case, my transmission mount back across here, and then we're going to test to see how well this shifts between 4-low, 4-high, and 2-high. And then if it's contacting anything or not shifting properly, we will adjust the length here, and we will adjust the bolts here. So for now, I'm just going to snug everything back down tightly. I'm going to make sure the bar up here, let me stop moving the light. The bar up here, there's 2 pins on the side of the cab mount lever. You want to bend those in until they are snugly tight around the factory bar that comes out. And if they're not, then this thing will slide around. If they're too tight, you won't be able to get a flush mount onto there. So don't go too much. Slow and steady. In 2-wheel drive, my shifter does not want to go all the way forward, and that's because it is contacting on that nut. So I'm going to switch to the 3rd bolt and see if that clearances it a little better. If not, then I'm going to have to shave some of the metal off. So let's take this out. That's just the 15mm bolt right there to take the shifter off, and then spin it off of the shaft. Now I just removed it after testing everything, make sure it all works. And the one problem I was having, not really a problem, but it was a 1/16 of an inch on this side that was coming into contact whenever I shifted into 2-high. And it wasn't in contact well in 2-high, but just it shifted back, contacted, and then bounced away.
and I didn't like that. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know how much clearance you need. So I took about 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch off of this side. As you can see, it's curved over here and straight over here. Beveled those edges. About to reinstall this. Now once you have it, so you get all of your shift points into exactly where they should be on the lever. And man, this is shifting smoother than I've ever had it shift. I did notch it a little bit for 4 low because just in this bracket, it didn't fully seat and it was in every other position perfectly. So rather than, you know, possibly grind out 4 low, I figured I'd just grind out this bracket. Which, if you have your center console in, means you have to get your center console off, cut that out. I don't have a center console, building one pretty soon. Also, check out the video on how I installed this heat and sound insulation from Noiko. It is great, highly recommend it. But so once you are once you have this as perfect as can be, remember to tighten down your lock nuts so you don't strip out the center bolt, and double check to torque down all of these other nuts and bolts. Don't want any of this coming loose. Making the transfer case go into the proper gear set, so 2 high, 4 high, neutral, and then 4 low. But also up here, making it line up so you got 2 high, 4 high, then neutral. It's in park right now, so I can't. I'm gonna drop the keys down into that endless abyss. But all in all, I would say it's shifting in and out of 4 high, 4 low, neutral, 2 high. The best it ever has. I can't compare it to the other shifters on the market, the cable ones and whatnot, whether or not that'd be easier or harder to install. I would say, since there's no added bracketry, it's simply just the plate that bolts onto the shifter on both the transfer case and then the shifter in your cab, that this is probably the simplest install / replacement. The cable shifters, to my knowledge, all have an extra bracket that you have to attach to the vehicle somehow and shorten the cable length. So if you're new to doing stuff with vehicles, I would say this is probably an easier thing to install than the cable shifters. I really recommend it. High quality, made in America, and it went in pretty easy. Probably took me about 2 hours in total. And if you have someone to help you, instead of having to climb in and out and in and out and in and out, I bet it'd go even faster than that. So, like, subscribe, comment, follow along for more. Hit me up on Instagram, SomeGuy Insta page, and remember, some guy can do it.